Every spiritual journey begins with a spark, that inner calling to seek something greater than yourself. Yet, as time passes, that spark can dim when life becomes heavy or distractions multiply. Staying motivated on your spiritual path requires more than just faith. It demands consistency, awareness, and the courage to keep walking even when the road feels uncertain. In this video, we'll explore 10 powerful chapters that will help you rediscover your purpose, reignite your spiritual fire, and stay deeply connected to the divine source guiding your life. The first and most powerful step to staying motivated is remembering why you began your spiritual journey in the first place. Every journey of faith starts with a spark, a whisper in your soul that says, there is more to life than this. You might have been in a season of confusion, pain, or searching for meaning when you first felt that divine call. That moment wasn't random. It was sacred. It was the point where the invisible world reached out and touched your heart. Every time you revisit that moment, you remind yourself that your journey was chosen for you, not by accident, but by divine design. When challenges arise and life feels heavy, your why becomes your anchor. It reminds you that spirituality is not a hobby or a temporary emotion. It's a commitment to growth, healing, and truth. When storms come, your reason for walking this path helps you stand firm. Every person's why is unique. Some seek peace, others purpose, others healing or connection. Whatever yours is, guard it like a treasure, because when you forget it, your motivation fades, but when you remember it, your heart reignites with direction. The spiritual journey isn't always full of miracles or visible progress. Some days feel dry, silent, or uncertain. In those times, remembering why you started helps you keep walking by faith, not by sight. Write down your reason. Speak it out loud when you pray. Read it when you doubt yourself. The same fire that started your path can start burning again if you fan it with reflection and gratitude. Let your why become your daily reminder that you are walking towards something greater than success or comfort. You're walking toward wholeness. Every step you take, even the trembling ones, leads you closer to the divine truth that called your name in the beginning. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline sustains you when feelings fade. Discipline is not the enemy of passion, it's the protector of progress. It transforms your spiritual goals into living habits that keep you growing even when inspiration disappears. Many people start their journey with fire, but only those who develop structure remain consistent. When you wake up early to pray, meditate, or reflect, even when you don't feel like it, that's not weakness, that's strength, disguised as obedience. Discipline doesn't mean perfection, it means showing up. Some days you'll feel deeply connected, other days you'll feel empty. But spiritual maturity means you show up anyway, trusting that even in silence, God is still working. Think of discipline as watering a plant. You may not see growth every day, but every drop matters. Your steady commitment nourishes your inner roots until one day, blossoms of peace and purpose appear. Each time you choose to be disciplined, you make a declaration that your faith is stronger than your emotions, that you value progress over comfort, that you trust the process more than the moment. Discipline creates sacred rhythm in your life. It builds momentum that even doubt cannot break. Over time, your daily actions become spiritual reflexes, aligning your body, mind, and spirit with divine purpose. So instead of waiting for motivation, build systems that nurture it. Create a morning ritual, a gratitude journal, or a nightly moment of reflection. Discipline transforms spirituality from something you think about into something you live. When your habits reflect your faith, motivation naturally follows, not as a fleeting feeling, but as a permanent state of alignment. Your environment either strengthens or weakens your spiritual motivation. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, doubt, or distraction, your inner light dims. But if you choose to spend time around people who uplift, inspire, and challenge you to grow, your fire multiplies. Spiritual energy is contagious. The more you are exposed to it, the more it lives in you. Choose your circle wisely. Spend time with those who value truth, kindness, and humility. Their presence will sharpen your discernment and strengthen your resolve. Spiritual community is not just about attending gatherings, it's about finding people who help you remember who you are when you forget your purpose. These are the souls who remind you of your purpose when the noise of life makes you doubt yourself. Sometimes the energy you need doesn't come from people, but from spaces. Create a sacred environment around you. It could be a quiet corner with candles and music, a nature spot where you feel God's presence, or even a playlist that awakens your peace. Your surroundings speak to your spirit. Keep them pure and intentional. When you surround yourself with faith, you start to live in harmony with it. You'll notice your thoughts shift, your confidence rise, and your motivation strengthen. The right energy attracts divine alignment. And when you're aligned, walking your spiritual path no longer feels like a struggle. It becomes a joyful flow. One of the hardest truths to accept in your spiritual journey is that growth takes time. We live in a world that celebrates instant results, fast answers, quick success, immediate transformation. But the soul doesn't work on human deadlines. The spiritual process is slow, intentional, and deeply personal. You can't rush divine timing any more than you can force a seed to bloom before its season. When you start comparing your progress to others, you rob yourself of peace. Everyone's timeline is different because everyone's lessons are different. What takes one person a week might take another a year, and that's okay. What matters is that you're moving forward, even if it's one small step at a time. Your patience is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of faith. Faith that what you're building inside will one day manifest outside. In moments of waiting, doubt can whisper that nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, your soul is growing roots. Every prayer, every tear, every act of forgiveness is shaping your spirit into something unshakable. Growth doesn't always feel good, but it always bears fruit. The most beautiful flowers go through the longest winters before they bloom. Accept the timing of your transformation. Trust that the delays, detours, and silences are not punishments, but preparations. God is not late, He is precise. When you release your expectations and embrace the process, peace will replace impatience, and your motivation will become steady and mature, anchored in divine trust. Your mind is the battlefield of your spiritual journey. What you feed it determines whether your motivation grows or fades. If you constantly consume negativity, fear, or doubt, your spiritual energy will weaken. But when you fill your mind with truth, wisdom, and divine knowledge, your inner fire becomes unstoppable. Feed your thoughts with what nourishes your faith. Scriptures, positive teachings, or even music that uplifts your soul. Every word you absorb either builds or breaks your spirit. The more you align your thoughts with truth, the stronger your spiritual awareness becomes. Don't let social media or toxic conversations dictate your mindset. Instead, choose daily to feed on content that inspires growth, peace, and self-reflection. Guard your mind as if it were sacred, because it is. Doubt will knock at your door, fear will whisper lies, and negativity will try to poison your joy. But truth is your armor. Remind yourself daily of your worth, your purpose, and your connection to divine love. Speak life into your situation, even when you don't see change yet. Words have power. Let yours create light. When you fill your mind with truth, you begin to think differently, speak differently, and live differently. You stop reacting from fear and start responding from faith. Your inner world becomes stronger than your outer circumstances, and that is where true motivation is born, from a mind anchored in light and a heart centered in truth. Every obstacle you encounter along your spiritual journey has a purpose hidden beneath its pain. The moment you decide to see your struggles not as punishment, but as preparation, your entire outlook begins to change. Life's challenges are divine tests designed to reveal your strength, not your weakness. When something painful happens, pause before reacting. Ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? That simple question transforms confusion into clarity and hardship into wisdom. Pain is often the universe's most powerful teacher. The moments that break you are often the ones that shape you into something new. Without resistance, there is no growth. Without struggle, there is no maturity. Every spiritual warrior you admire has walked through valleys before reaching the mountaintop. When you understand that every trial refines your character, you begin to see difficulty as divine training, preparing you for greater purpose. Your struggles also awaken empathy. When you've been through darkness and survived, you gain compassion for others still walking through their storms. You become a light for those who have lost their way. The spiritual journey is not about escaping pain, but transforming it into power. When you allow God to turn your wounds into wisdom, your motivation becomes indestructible. So, don't curse your challenges, bless them. Each one is a hidden invitation to rise higher, to love deeper, and to trust stronger. When you stop resisting your lessons and start learning from them, life becomes your teacher, and every hardship becomes a sacred classroom for the soul. Gratitude is the oxygen of the soul. It fills your spirit with light and turns ordinary moments into miracles. When you wake up in the morning, your first breath is already a gift. But how often do you pause to appreciate it? Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present, from lack to abundance, and from complaint to worship. The more you practice gratitude, the more reasons life gives you to be thankful. It's not about ignoring your problems, it's about choosing to see the blessings that exist alongside them. Start small. Thank God for your breath, for the people who love you, for the opportunities waiting to unfold. Write your blessings down in a journal or say them out loud. This daily practice rewires your brain to recognize goodness even in difficult moments. Gratitude turns chaos into clarity, worry into worship, and pressure into peace. The secret truth is this: grateful people never run out of motivation, because when your heart is full of appreciation, you no longer chase joy, you radiate it. Gratitude becomes your constant fuel, reminding you that even when things aren't perfect, you are still blessed, still guided, and still growing.
In a world full of noise, silence becomes sacred. True spiritual motivation doesn't come from constant activity, but from deep stillness. When you quiet the outside world, you begin to hear the whispers of your soul. Silence is not the absence of sound, it's the presence of awareness. It's in the quiet moments that divine truth reveals itself to you. We live surrounded by distractions, phones buzzing, opinions shouting, responsibilities calling. These constant noises drown the voice of your spirit. That's why solitude isn't isolation, it's restoration. Taking time alone to meditate, pray, or simply breathe allows your inner compass to reset. You can't hear divine guidance if you're always surrounded by chaos. In silence, your heart begins to heal. You start to process what you've been avoiding: pain, confusion, or questions you've buried. You discover parts of yourself that have been waiting to be heard. Solitude brings you face to face with your authentic self, beyond the masks you wear for the world. And in that authenticity, motivation returns, because you're reminded of your true purpose. So find time to disconnect, even if only for a few minutes each day. Step outside and listen to the wind. Watch the sunrise, or sit in stillness with your eyes closed. The peace you seek is already within you. Silence just helps you find it again. When you learn to be comfortable alone with your spirit, you'll never feel spiritually empty again. Service is the heartbeat of spirituality. When you serve others, you serve the divine. True spiritual motivation grows when your journey stops being just about you and becomes about how you can uplift others. Each act of kindness, no matter how small, creates a ripple of light that spreads far beyond what you can see. Helping others reminds you of your purpose. It connects you to the divine flow of love and compassion. When you give without expecting anything in return, you receive something greater: joy, peace, and renewed faith. Love in action is the highest form of prayer. It's not just about words, but about showing up for others when they need hope, comfort, or encouragement. Service transforms your struggles into strength. When you comfort someone else, your own pain begins to heal. When you lift another soul, your own spirit rises. The more you give, the more you grow, because giving aligns you with divine generosity. You start to see that your gifts, talents, and even your scars can all be used for good. Look for opportunities to serve. Volunteer, listen to someone in pain, or simply smile at a stranger. You never know how deeply a small gesture can impact a life. The more you serve with love, the more your soul expands. And as your heart opens wider, your motivation deepens, because your journey becomes not just about your salvation, but about being a vessel of divine grace for the world. At the end of every spiritual journey comes the lesson of surrender. You can plan, work, and strive, but at some point, you must release control and trust that the universe, or God, knows what's best for you. True motivation comes from trust, the kind of trust that says, even when I don't understand, I still believe. This is not passive, it's powerful. It's the faith that moves mountains because it's rooted in divine confidence, not fear. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of the illusion that you must have all the answers. It's learning to walk in faith even when the path is foggy. When you stop resisting what you can't change, you make room for miracles. Every delay, every closed door, every unanswered prayer is still part of the plan. Your role is not to control the outcome, but to stay faithful through the process. When you live in surrender, peace becomes your constant companion. You stop wrestling with why and start flowing with what is. You begin to notice that even the detours were leading you somewhere sacred. Every experience, good or bad, becomes a thread in the tapestry of your purpose. When you surrender, you stop living from fear and start living from trust. So release your grip, take a deep breath, and say, I trust the process. Let those words be your mantra. Life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. The universe is not against you, it's guiding you. When you finally surrender, you discover that what you've been chasing has been within you all along. Peace, purpose, and divine motivation that never fades.